It's not the first. The first daf is a little bit more complicated. The next daf is much easier. Okay, we're just continuing in the sugya of how do you call it? What is it called? Mekadesh b'milva. That's the yeshivish version of it. Right? So Mekadesh b'milva is meaning a man wants to be Mekadesh his wife, but alone. Right? Meaning his wife owes him money. He says, instead of you paying me back, keep the money and I'll marry you. Right? So we said that it doesn't work. So we're going through all these different examples to try and bring that it's a machlokes tanoim. All right. So name of kahani, where we are we're the second thin line up from the wide lines on Mem Ches Amid Aleph. Yeah, Mem Ches Amid Aleph, second or 8 lines up from the bottom, 9 lines up from the bottom. All right, name a kahani tanoi. Let's say it's like this. It's a machlokes tanoi. The Tanya also shirayim nezamim metabois. Right, if the lady tells a guy, make for me nose rings. Well, I don't know if it's nose rings. Yeah, I guess it is nose rings, right? Whatever, different types of rings. And then I'm gonna make myself married to you. Since he makes it for her, she's mekudeshes. That's what Rameir holds. He's coming in 5 different minutes. The Chachamim saying, no, we gotta pay attention to this machlokes here. Again, the Rameir is saying once he makes the rings, she's mikudeshes. Chachamim say she's not mikudeshes until the money gets to her hand. Now, what does this mean? Hi, mammon. Hey, what's the case of what is this money? If you say it's talking about the mammon, meaning when he gives her back the jewelry, right? She gave him metal, I guess. Right? She probably gave him a slab of metal or gave him jewelry. She wants him to improve it, whichever, either one. So she says, I'll marry you. And then he gives it back. So Rameir says, once he makes it, it's Mikudeshes. Chachamim saying she's not Mikudeshes until he gives it back. So gives what back? So if it's the money, meaning the jewelry, then do we say that the Tanakama says even if he gives back the rings, they're not married? Right? I'm sorry, not even if he doesn't give back the rings, it's not married. That doesn't make sense. What is he being Mekadesh with? That's not an interesting thing that here the Gemara calls Rameir Tanakam. Usually the Gemara calls somebody Tanakama because there's no author. Right? Here it says Rameir, and the Gemara still calls him Tanakam. But okay. So meaning again, so we're saying if it says the money, if the Chacham is saying that she's not married until he gives back the rings, that means Rameir holds that she's married even before he gives back the rings. He didn't give her anything. How could he be married to her? It's with other money. It's talking about Mekadesh b'milva, right? So meaning he really, right? He has to give, the Chachamim are saying that he has to give her some money in addition to the rings, right? Because just giving the rings, just saying, you're going to be married without giving the rings, so that's a halva, right? He's holding on to something that belongs to her. So you see it's a machlokes. So the Gemara says, V'savri, now what's the pshat? V'savri, the kuli yama yeshna schiras mitchila v'adsai. Everybody holds that schiros, anytime you rent somebody out, meaning you hire somebody, the renting goes from the beginning to the end. Meaning if a guy is hired to do work for you, let's say you hire a guy $1,000 to paint for you, right? So is every minute that he works or whatever the breakdown would be, he earns a percentage of that $1,000, or does he not earn that $1,000 until he's done? Right? So we're saying that everybody holds yeshin l'schirus mitchila v'ad soif, that he doesn't go and get one big payment at the end. It's broken up into however you're going to break it up. Baba Malvan, he's basically a lender. right? My laba kamilgi. So what's a machlok? It's the masa or mekadosh milva mikudeshes. Somebody's mekadosh with the milva as mikudeshes. The masa or mekadosh milva ain't mikudeshes. And one holds that mekadosh milva is not mikudeshes, right? So that would be the case. Again, we're saying that everybody holds that as the guy works, he's owed money, right? So therefore, it's a loan, and he's being mindful the loan. He's being mindful of payment from the woman, and then that's how he's going to marry her. So we say, "Lo dekuli mekadosh milva ain't mikudeshes." Mekadosh milva is not mikudeshes. And here we're talking about where they hold that there is schirus mitchila vad soif. Now the Gemara is going to go through all the variations now of what the machlokes is. So now, till now, we were saying yeshna l'schirus mitchila vad soif. Everybody holds that, and the machlokes is whether you can be mekadosh b'milva. So now we're saying no. Now we're saying mekadosh b'milva, she's not married, right? With a loan that she owes and he's meichelit, she's not married, right? And we're talking about, and everybody holds that a guy is rented mitchila vad soif. Marsavar on Tamabeis, Marsavar ain't a l'schirus el l'besoif. The schirus is only at the end. Well, Marsavar yeshna l'schirus mitchila vad soif, and the other one holds that there is schirus mitchila vad soif. All right, meaning, I think I said before, everybody holds that they hold yeshna l'schirus mitchila vad soif. No, I'm saying here that they all hold that there's no marriage, and the machlokes is how do you break up when you hire somebody to do work for you, right? So if you hold that eina l'schirus el l'besoif, so then when he gives back the rings, there's no loan there. When he gives back the rings, it's instead, and he doesn't charge money. So then that's as if that's the money that he's essentially giving her. There was no loan, right? Fine. Everybody is saying everybody holds there is schirus mitchila vad soif. Mekadosh milva ain't mikudeshes, and somebody's mekadosh milva is not mikudeshes. We're talking about the machlokes of is a worker. Is he kaina when he improves a kli? When you give a utensil to a guy, not a guy, to a worker, and he starts improving it, how does it work? Is it your utensil that he's improving? Or does it become his utensil, right? And then he sells it to you. So that's the machlokes here. This has a big nafkamina. Not that we have that much time, but if you have a utensil and you give it to a guy to repair for you, do you have to toivel it when he gives it back, right? Meaning, if you hold that he's kind of the kli, so then you have to give it back. Then you have to toivel it again. If you hold that he's not kind of the kli, then you don't have to toivel it again, right? He just took your kli and fixed it. So that's the machlokes here. Masav uman kind of b'shvach kli, masav ain't uman kind of b'shvach kli. Everybody say fourth shot. The kuliyama ain't uman kind of b'shvach kli. Uman is not kind of b'shvach kli. The yeshnu l'schirus mitchila vad soif. And there's schirus mitchila vad soif. Mekadosh milva ain't mikudeshes, and somebody's mekadosh milva is not mikudeshes. He added on an extra stone on his own. Right? He decided he's going to be a good businessman. He's going to add a stone on. When somebody, we had this a couple of blocks ago, right? If the man is being Makadish the wife with a pruta, right? It was Makadish with a pruta and a hava. So what's her das on? If the das is on the hava, so then it doesn't work. If depending on what you hold. And if it's on the pruta, then maybe it works. So Taitei Pruta, Umar Savar Taitei Amalva. So the machlokes here is what do we say her das is on? Is it on the Pruta or is it on the loan? If you hold it's on the Pruta, she's married. If you hold it's on the loan, then she's not married. And it's going in the machlokes of this Tanoim. The Tani B'scharsha Sisi Imach. If a guy says, I'm doing work for you, instead of you paying me, I'm going to marry you. Ain't a Mekadesha, she's not Mekadeshas. The schar she'ese imach, and the schar that I do it for you, mekudeshes, she is mekudeshes. From Nasanayman, the schar she'ese imach ain't a mekudeshes. With the schar that I'm going to do work for you, she's not married. The chol shekem the schar she'asisi imach, and the kol shekem the schar that I did for you. Yehuda Nasi says, Be'emes amru bein b'schar she'asisi bein b'schar she'ese imach. Whether it's a schar that I did, whether it's a schar that I'm going to do, ain't a mekudeshes. She's not married. In ha'isif lo noifach mishaloi. And if he adds on his own stone, Mikudeshes, because she's giving her something. So Bein Tanakam Rav Nosson, Iku Beinayu Schirus. The difference between Tanakam and Rav Nosson would be a rental, right? Bein Rav Nosson and Rav Yehuda Nossi, Iku Beinayu Malva Pruta. And the difference between Rav Nosson and Rav Yehuda Nossi is Malva and Pruta. Marsavar Malva Pruta Daite Malva. The Malva and a Pruta, the Das is on the loan, or Marsavar Daite Pruta, the Das is on the Pruta. Okay, that's the hard part of the Daf. Welcome, Horowitz family from New Jersey. Yeah, we're by the Mishnah on Mem Ches Amud Beis. Yeah. Okay, so basically, just the synopsis was we tried to find all these different machlokes tanoim, whether there's schirus, whether you can be mekadosh and isha with a hava, not with hava. Yeah, so that's and we have all sorts of variables.
We were mechaven to Rabbi Chanan last night. Okay. The Geshmak of Rabbi Chanan.
So what?
About on this piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, good for you.
I learned with my Anikel and my Adam together, the three of us.
Oh, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm not holding my understanding of Rabbi Chanan on this sugya. I remember I'll be happy if I understand the Gemara on this sugya. Okay. Anyways, so the Mishnah, yeah. Now we're out of that sugya of Kaddish and Bilvus, and now we start a different one. It's actually because Zeshel Yayin. If he says, "Be Mekadosh me with a cup of wine," now this gets into Mekach Tois. All right. Let's not, there's ganz controversy with this whole sugya. How do you define a Mekach Tois by a marriage, right? Guy tells the wife, or the wife tells him that I'm a good dancer. Comes out, she don't know how to dance. She's got 2 left feet, right? Can he marry? Can he not, right? She says, yeah, I'm a baseball fan. I'll go to all the games we do. And then they get married. He's like, no, right? So is that a Mekach Tois? Is it not a Mekach Tois? Right? All these variations, right? So I had a shiloh last week with the Mekach Tois. Maybe I'll say, maybe I don't. Okay, so let's see. Skachili, because Shel Yayin, he says to her, be Mekadosh me with this cup of wine. V'nimtza shel dvash, and he gives it to her, and then there was honey in it. Shel dvash v'nimtza shel yayin. If there was honey, he says, I'm being Mekadosh you with this cup of honey, and it was wine. B'dinar zeh shel kesef. He says, I'm giving you this dinar which is silver. V'nimtza shel zav, and she sees that it's gold. Shel zav v'nimtza shel kesef, or the opposite. Amanashani ashir, on condition that I'm wealthy. V'nimtza ani v'nimtza ashir. Aina mikudeshes, she's not mikudeshes, right? In all these cases, it's considered like he pulled the wool over her eyes, and the marriage is not a marriage. Now, this is even if there was an improvement, right? Meaning, he says this is silver, but it ends up being gold, so she's only in a better place, right? Still, it's not a Kiddushin, right? He misrepresented. It's not a Kiddushin. Shimon disagrees. He says, if the guy makes the mistake and it's l'shvach, then it's mikudeshes. Then for sure mikudeshes, right? So that's a machlokes in the Mishnah. Again, whether if the guy fools the wife, certainly it's not a marriage. Question is if he fools her, but the fooling part was to her advantage, right? So to her advantage. So does it work or not? So Reb Shimon holds it works. Tanakam holds it doesn't work. Tanaban, especially because so he says, be mekadosh me with this cup. Tani chada boy uva masha b'seicha. We have one brisa that says, how do you calculate it? Right? Meaning it has to be worth a pruta. Whatever he's selling her or telling her, it's got to be worth a pruta. So is that including the kais or not including the kais? Right? Like Lamashal in the grocery stores, right? When you buy a pound of coleslaw, is the pound including the case, or is it not including the whatever, the plastic that it comes in, is that included in the pound or not included in the pound? Right? So So the same thing over here. Are we including the kais as part of the worth or not? That's so one brisa says it's the kais and what's in it. It has to be the honey or the wine that has to be worth a shava pruta, having nothing to do with the kais.
What's the shah? It says it's scotchally bekois zeshal yayin. Otherwise, it would say bekois.
No, it's a cup full of wine.
If you thought that you would only be mekadosh with the cup, so then what are you saying bekois shal yayin? It's scotchally bekois.
If he only meant, no, he definitely, I don't think, it's definitely the wine is included. The question is the kais.
The shaila is if it's the kais in the wine, if it's the wine, or if it's the kais.
Correct.
So then, if it's the kais, so then what? Why does it say kais zeshal yayin?
No, there's no question that it's
not
no
going
question.
on the Mishnah.
Well, that's
It's
also
separate
true.
shaila.
This is a few separate prices. That's true.
It's a different case. It's a case where he said because zeh. He didn't say shal yayin. He didn't say shal anything. He just said because zeh.
What does the Mishnah say?
What?
Kais
We're not in the Mishnah.
yayin.
We're in the Gemara.
What Gershon is saying is that it's a different case. He's saying it's a different case.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, so one brisa says in part of the pruta calculations is the kais and what's in it, and another brisa says the kais but not what's in it. Right? What's in it and not it. So we have all three variations. It's either both, everything, just the kais or just the drink. One is talking about with water. Right? When it's filled with water, so you're not being makadosh. A woman's not accepting Kiddushin with a water bottle, right? It's gonna go on the bottle, not on the water. The chamra with wine, so wine is considered a chashuv thing. So she doesn't care about the kais. And habetziara, when it's filled with fish brine, so when it's filled with fish brine, or fish needs to sit in the utensil the whole time. So Mamela, since it's sitting in the utensil the whole time, therefore her das is both on the fish brine and the kais. Right? Fine. So those are the three variations. Fine. Frozen freezing because my screen went blank for a second.
Yeah, you keep freezing.
Okay, let me call him. Let me call it in.
Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
My internet is shot. Call in.
Enter your participant ID. You are in the meeting now. This meeting is being recorded. You are muted. You can mute or be muted. You are unmuted.
Okay, is that better now? Sorry. All right, I apologize. Does that work? Okay. I don't know what my Bluetooth is, so I'll just talk on the phone just to make sure it's clear. Okay. So if Rav Shimon holds that if there was the mistake was in her favor, then she is married. That's what Mara asked. Let's say that Rav Shimon yain v'nim tzachaymet, if he's mekadosh with wine. Sorry, not mekadosh, sold. If a guy sells a guy wine and it ends up being vinegar, chaymet v'nim yain, or if he sells a guy vinegar and it comes out to be wine, shneim yichayim lafterim, they could both change their mind, right? Even though wine is obviously better than vinegar, so how come he can change his mind? Meaning, according to Rav Shimon, who holds that since she's getting the better of the deal, the marriage is a marriage. So that means in a regular sale too. Since whoever's getting the better deal should not be able to renege. Yet the Brisa says that you can renege. Alma ika denichale b'chalav, ika denichale b'chamra. Some people want vinegar, some people want wine. Meaning, so you can't say that just because it's better. The guy can say, listen, I needed vinegar, you sold me wine. Right? Even though wine is better. Some people are happy with silver, and some people are happy with gold. Right? Meaning they're not necessarily going to be happy with
That's a fair comparison. That's a fair comparison to wine and brine or vinegar.
Why not?
Because silver and gold are both good. You might like one better than the other, but brine, who wants the brine?
No, but
Who
let's say
says
the lady.
who says silver is good? Maybe all she has is gold jewelry and silver is worthless there.
It's not worthless because she can sell it. First of all, she can sell it.
Right, she could flip it.
Silver is
She could
not
flip
worthless
it.
to anybody.
So he's not being Makadish or anything. For her, it's not worth anything.
But it is
Now.
worth something. It is
Not
worth
now,
something.
not now, not Maine, not immediately.
Well, yeah. The truth is can she taina? Yes, you're right, David. Flip it, right? You'll be a lot better off. Right?
It's a lot more valuable for anybody than vinegar or brine. That could be worthless. But silver is never worthless. I might not need it, but it's still not worthless.
Yeah, I hear you, but the bottom line is that it's a headache. She says, "I wanted silver." Right?
You have to be
Makadish.
Don't you have to be Makadish short her something right this minute? And if you're not, then it's not considered a Kiddushin.
No, it is. You are being Makadish. She just wanted something else. But you're still giving her something. But the question is, it's not a matter of whether this is a good Kiddushin, meaning out the kesef. He definitely gave her something. The question is it a mekach tois? He definitely gave her something.
You mean it wasn't?
Let's say a guy says to her, "I'm going to be Makadish you with a grab egg." Right? It's what do you call it? How do you say it? It's like a joker or whatever. I'm going to be Makadish with you. So she says, "Oh yeah, I don't mind. I like surprises." She's definitely married, right? She gave into that. Right here, we're talking about where it's alt mekach tois. Right? Are we understanding that?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Oh, so Naftali Liner, he had an example this week of somebody who turned down some major expensive thing because that's not what they wanted. Right? I don't know if Naftali's on. But yeah. But anyways.
Okay.
Fine. So that's the Gemara's kasha. Some people just want silver, they don't want gold.
What's Ever saying? It's an interesting thing what he's saying.
What?
You give somebody tickets. She has tickets to the Jet game. She couldn't care less. She has no interest in the Jet. The tickets are $50, but what means nothing to her, zero. In order for her to get money, she has to go on StubHub, however you do it, to go on StubHub and resell it, and she'll get $50 or whatever she'll get.
Right.
But the thing itself, she has mamish. It's not worth it to her.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I look at the Taisus, the second Taisus up from the bottom. Just a quick, don't worry, it's a fast Taisus. Taisus says, "Pirish going shetzricha kesef lahashlim tachshel shel kesef." Right, meaning she needs silver because she has a silver. Who says? One of the guys said the most, right? She needs the silver because she needs to finish up her other silver jewelry. There, Rav Shimon doesn't disagree. Meaning, he tells her, "I'm going to be Makadish you with $100." And he gives it to her in a bag, and in the bag is $200. So Rav Shimon's going to hold she's not married. Right, David, I think that answers your question. Right? Rav Shimon's going to say she's not married. Avada, she's married. What's just extra money? You can't say that. She can't say, "Oh, I only wanted $100, not $200." Right? So there Rav Shimon would be maida that the marriage is a marriage. It's only when she daska wanted silver because she had a particular reason that she wanted silver.
Maybe she didn't want $200 because she says, I get the government.
I get government programs, and if you give me $200, I
It's
can't get.
cash. It's cash. He's giving her cash. Not giving her a check. He's giving her cash.
No, but it's not al
Yeah.
dite. It's not al dite what she wants.
I thought you were going to say Zevs, that she's from Ira Kodesh, Lakewood, so there's precious. She says, I don't want any extra
I'm
money.
talking
Right, we
about.
don't-
Okay.
I got you.
I don't want to marry that
wanna-
girl,
no-
okay? I don't want to marry that girl.
No extra money. No, I don't want that. Precious from my Lamhaza. Now you're giving me tivas. I'm going to overstep my bounds, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know, Taka. I don't know that. That one I could hear. Right? Why would you
She
want
doesn't
extra
want-
money?
She doesn't want extra money because she can't get the wick. Then you know.
I hear. That's also a good example. That's Taka a good example. Maybe Tysus would have to adjust it for government programs. We have to make a little asterisk here. The ha'ara, that if you're on government programs, you may Taka want less money. Less more.
No,
less is
I'm
more.
I'm
Right?
giving you a
Less
case.
is more. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Less is more. Yeah, it's a good point. Okay, so anyways, that's the kasha, meaning Reb Shimon holds, holds that it's would he say that in a give and a take in a sale that also as long as it's better, that you needed to buy a suit for Yom Tif, you open up the suit and there's a bekasha. They say, look, wait, bekasha was a lot more than a suit. He said, very nice, but I'm not a chassid, right? What am I going to do with this, right? But so you got to change that. If does Reb Shimon hold there that he also gets to keep it? He has to buy it. It can't be. So I'm going to but Rashi ashkachti labaya the also the kamazule lebrei. Abaya was sitting and was basing his son. A guy tells the shliach, lend me silver. The lech v'kadosh li'isha plans, meaning he needs the money from the shliach, and he tells the shliach, lend me some silver, be mekadosh this particular woman. And he goes and he lent the guy gold, and he gave gold to the woman. Right? So Mar says that when the Mishaleach, the one getting married, told the shliach silver, he meant specifically silver. I don't want you to give gold, and therefore the marriage wouldn't be a marriage. He wasn't telling him it has to be silver. He just told him, by the way, you go to the silver store, you can get silver, but he wasn't mocked. But it could be that he would also let him do gold. Right? So that's the machlokes here. Meaning, so our Mishnah is not talking about a case where the husband fooled the wife straight up. It's talking about where the husband was fooled by the shliach he made to go give the money to his wife. Right? He had said, give me silver, give the wife silver, lend me silver and give it to my wife or to my future wife. And he went and did it with gold. They want to ask, and the Mishnah shouldn't say be mekadosh to me. It should be mekadosh to him. Right? It says it shouldn't be he made her a mistake to her advantage. It should be he did it, meaning the shliach did it. Nimsa meikara nami dezav hava. And also, it was always gold. Right? Meaning this woman wasn't fooled. In this case, the woman wasn't fooled. The woman knew all the whole time it was gold. It's the husband that was fooled, and this is the way the Gemara is saying it. The husband wanted to borrow silver to give to the wife, and the shliach did it from gold. So those are three kashas that make it sound like that can't be the Mishnah. Again, the Mishnah wants to say that it's through a shliach, and the Gemara asks three kashas, two dikta kashas, which doesn't fit into the terminology of the Mishnah, and the third is that in the Mishnah it sounds like the woman was expecting silver and she got gold. According to this pshat, is she was expecting gold and she got gold. It was the husband that was expecting to give silver. So we slug up Abaya's pshat. Ela marava ani v'ariba shechabura tagim me and the arisha b'chabura are going to explain it. Umanu Reb Chia bar Avin, who's the Reb Shechabura, Reb Chia bar Avin. Hachamayaskinan kigan she'amra hi l'shlucha, where she told the shliach, "Say v'kabeli kiddushin miplani, go and be mekadosh." Now it's her. She asked the shliach, "Go get my kiddushin from Pliny." She'amra li hiskachili bedina shel kesef. And he said, "Go." She said to him, "Go be mekadosh me with a dinar of silver." V'halach v'nasan lo dinar shel zav. Right? He went, and the guy, the man that's being mekadosh the woman, through the shliach gave gold. Again, the woman said, "You go get me a marriage, go marry me off to this guy. He's going to give me silver." The shliach goes, and he ends up getting gold from the mishaleh, from the marriage, from the man. Mar savar kepeda or mar savar maramakam hiloi. So it's a maramakam. Well, my nimtza. So what does it mean nimtza? Right? She was the whole time. So Gemara says the katsayar beblisa was talking about where it was wrapped up in a cloth, right? It was wrapped up in a cloth, like we said before, it's like a grab bag. So she had no idea what was in it. So the shliach didn't know. Right? So when did they find out? When the woman opened it up, she said, "Oh, it's gold, it's not silver." So that was the question: was she makbid that she dafka wanted silver, or she was just saying that the easy way to do it is to have silver? Fine. So I'm going to buy it. Rav Shimon got a little bit lower. They all hold that when a guy makes a shliach and he gives him some information about it, he's just saying it as a maramakam. He's not saying it has to be done specifically that way. Rav Shimon Hadamar. Rav Shimon is like we just said in our Mishnah, right? That Rav Shimon says as long as the guy does it into an advantage, something more expensive, the Kiddushin works, right? Oh, it wasn't with his directions. It wasn't his exact directions. You say that was just a maramakam, but if it goes for better, then it's better. Rav Shimon Gamliel Detnan on to today's daf now. Yeah, Mem Tesamad Aleph. Get Pashut, Edom Misaycha. Remember, we had two types of gittin. We have a get Pashut, which is a flat get just on one side of the page. And then we had a get Makusha, which is the get that they do when they fold it over like a how do you call it? Like a fan or something like that, right? So that's the way they do the get for Kahanim because they want to stall for time. So they have to put Edom on each page, right? So there's two types of gittin. So get Pashut Edom Misaycha. If you have a get Pashut and the Edom are in the inside, meaning under the shtar, Makusha Edom Acharim. And the Makusha we know the Edom sign on the back of the paper. So now what happens if it got mixed up? Pashut Shekasu Edom Acharim. You have a pashut, a get pashut, a regular get, and the signatures are on the back. Or makusher shekasu edom misaychay. Then you have a makusher whose edom are normally on the outside, and here they're on the inside. Shnei psulin, they're both puzzled, right? Because they didn't do it properly. So ben Gamliel, I mean makusher shekasu edom misaychay kasher. A get makusher, the one that's folded up, that the edom are on the inside, it's kosher. Why? Because all you can do is flatten it out, and then you can turn it into a get kosher. It's all totally in the minig of Medina. Right? Meaning, if the place the minig is to do it that way, so then the get. If you do it the opposite way, it's going to be no good. Fine. For Abinamba, and they discussed. Right, but Tanakama, Leslie Minigam Medina, Tanakama doesn't go Minigam Medina. From Ravashi, Ba'asad and Higi B'Pashut, talking about a town that they did it as a get Pashut, like a straight get, but Avar, Babale Makusha, and they made it into a Makusha. Inami Ba'asad and Higi B'Makusha. It's a town where the minig was to do it with the folded up get, Babale Pashut, and they made it into a Pashut. So Kuli Amalei Pligi Devada Kepeda. If it's in that town and they did it the opposite way than they normally do a get on the town, then everybody holds it's a kpeda and the get is no good. Keep pligi ba'asat and hiki bein b'pasha bein makusha. The whole machlokes is if it's in a town where sometimes some people write it as a get makusha and some people write it as a get pashut. From Malay, Ovidli pashut, and he told the guy, make me a get pashut. He goes and he went and he made it into a get makusha. Right? Marsavar Kfeda. One holds it's a Kfeda. Umarsavar Maramakam, and the other one says it's a Maramakam. So that's the second shita. So again, it's a machlokes. When a person's asking somebody to write a get, and he says get makusha or get pashut, did he mean it specifically, or are you just trying to give him some direction?
Isn't makusha dafka for kohen? Or it's possible that it can be written out.
No. Some people can write it either way.
Uh-huh.
Right?
I thought it was just for kohen.
No, that's usually what we do it for. But the question is, does it work? Does it work, Stam, if you didn't do that? All right. Anyways, okay, Rebbe Eliezer, the Tran Ha'isha Sha'amra Hiskabali Giti Mimakam Pliny. A woman says, go accept my get in one town. All right. The Kibbutz Gita Mimakam Acher, and he was makabel the get in a different town. Puzzle, the get is puzzle because she said, how do I say it? Receive my get for me in this specific town, and he did it in a different town. Rebbe Eliezer says it's kosher. What's the shot? Alma Kasavar Maramakam Eloi. When she told him to accept the get in this particular town, she was telling him, like, that's the easiest way for you to do it. Do it in this town, but it doesn't have to be in this town. Omar Ula, Machloikis Shevach Mammon. The whole Machloikis is if the money, right? If the money is better, right, for her. Aval b'Shevach Yuchsin. Now we get into a whole b'Shevach Yuchsin, but for a Shvach for Yuchsin, meaning Yichus Divrei Akol Eina Mekudeshes. Everybody hold she's not Mekudeshes. My timer. Mesano derav mekara lebeina. Rashi says this is a what's Rashi's lashon? The mushal. I think mushal. Who Rashi says this is a mushal, right? I don't need a shoe that's too big for my feet. Isn't there an English phrase like this too? Too big for your britches, maybe? Is that something like that?
Yeah.
Meaning, he says to her, I told you that I have a face. I'm a Kohen or a Levi. We'll see in the Gemara, right? And he ends up. He says I'm a Yisrael. He ends up being a Kohen. He says, I don't want to marry a Kohen. I'm not interested in this guy going off and eating raw meat and coming home with stomach aches. Whatever. I mean, I don't want a guy that's too big for. I don't want to. I'd rather be like a plain Jane type of person. We're not interested in being married to somebody with major yichus, right?
Does that apply to social circle also?
To what?
Social circle. I'm from.
That's what I think. That's what it means.
Right.
I think that's what it means. Like, let's say a guy marries a girl, and he tells her, "I'm just a plain guy," and then it ends up that he's a Rebbe She'enikal, and he's busy by, chasanas and all these things until 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So what should I do? I have to do it.
Or if a person marries somebody thinking that the guy's a gviratzu, and he's going to be able to support his kids for 20 years in learning, and then you find out the guy's a fraud.
So that's okay. That the Mishnah says. That the Mishnah says beferish. That's considered no good. This is yuchsin. This is yuchsin. There's nothing wrong with the person himself. It's more of a philosophy thing. Right? That's what we're saying here. This is more a philosophical thing. Let's see right. Maybe we get a clear. Tani Amechi Moedu Rav Shimon Hittel L'Shvach Yuchsin Eina Mekudeshes. Rav Shimon, who normally says that even if it's an upgrade, she's still married, but by Yuchsim, not. Yeah, Amar Rav Ashi must be Nami Dek, and the Mishnah is doing like this too. The Tani Amanasha Hani Kohen. If he says on Kiddushin I'm a Kohen, v'nimtza Levi, and he's really a Levi. Levi v'nimtza Kohen. Nosin v'nimtza Mamzer, Mamzer v'nimtza Nosin, right? V'loi Polig Rav Shimon. Rav Shimon didn't disagree in that case, right? He only was disagreeing in the money part. So you see that he agrees that even an upgrade in Yuchsin is no good. Maskal Omar, so Maskal Omar Bar Rav Ashi has the kasha on his father, right? Ela de Katani, Almanasha Yeshli Bas Shivcha Migudelas. We have a brisa that says, let's say he says to her, I have a daughter I have an older daughter or a slave, right? Meaning, I have people to take care of me. A guy's getting married, and he says, I have people to take care of me. That's what he tells her, right? And he doesn't have. Right, so now the woman, all of a sudden, she's getting married. She thinks she's not going to have to do this guy's laundry. She's not going to have to take care of him. And all of a sudden, she gets married and he doesn't have this. Or the other way, Almanasha Einloi says, I don't have anybody to take care of me. And he does have somebody. The Shvach Mammon, that's a Shvach Mammon. Right? Hachanami, Deloy Polig. Is Reb Shimon not going to disagree with that too? Ella Polig Beresha. Ella, he disagrees in the Resha. But who are then L'Sefer, and he disagrees with the Sefer. Right? Meaning, he's disagreeing throughout. So he's disagreeing in the Reisha and on the Sefer. So Mara Rashi is saying is not a raya that Rav Shimon doesn't disagree by Yuchsin. Right? He's disagreeing throughout the whole Mishnah. So the Gemara answers, there, it's always Shvach Mammon, meaning a guy who says that he doesn't have somebody to take care of him, and he really does, that's just an upgrade. Right? Polig Bereisha who is in the Sefer. So therefore, Rav Shimon's going to disagree in the Reisha, and he's also going to disagree in the Sefer. Hacha the Shvach Yuchsim, who, but by Shvach Yuchsim, him Isa the Polig Nisni, if he was disagreeing that he should say it. Right, since it doesn't say Beferish that Rav Shimon disagrees, so then he doesn't, then it must be that he doesn't disagree. Iba Yasema, Hachanami Shvach Yuchsim, even by Shvach Yuchsim, it could be a problem, right? Why? Mi savras mai migudelas gedola mamish. What do you mean when he says that migudelas means that it means a girl that's grown up that could take care of her father? Mai migudelas, gedelas means that she's a gadol, like we refer to like a gadol ador, not big. We like somebody who's in stature. I guess that would be chashuva. Rashi said. I don't need to marry a guy who has a chashuva person in the house who's going to overhear all my conversations, and she's going to go yent around the whole town, all my private things. Meaning, if she wasn't a gadol, so nobody's going to listen to her anyways because nobody's going to care, right? But if she's a chashuva person, so people are going to say, oh, she's saying what's going on in this guy's house, so therefore the woman's going to say, I don't want it. I don't need this girl in my life, even though l'chayra it should be an upgrade. Okay, fine. So Tana Rabbanan. Bottom line is, it's the Gemara saying that it could be Rav Shimon would be. It seems like the Gemara is saying that Rav Shimon is Maida. That by Yuchsin, even if it's an upgrade, he's holding that it's not a marriage because the woman may not be happy with an upgrade in the Yichud. Right? Tana Rabbanan. Amanashani Kraina. He says that I know how to read. The Kivin Shekora Shloisha Psukim of Beis HaKnesses. If he could go read 3 Psukim in the Shul Harezim HaKudeshes, she's married because that's called reading. Rabbi Yehuda says no, it's not just reading. He has to be able to read and translate. The Gemara says Yitargim Idaite. He's translating on his own das, his own translation. Vatani Rabbi Yehuda Harezu Vadoi. If somebody translates a pasuk whichever way he wants, that he's considered he's full of baloney. And if you add your own translation, you're a mecharef u'megadef, you're making fun, meaning you have to use the standard classic translation. You can't be adding on more. So it can't be that he has to be able to translate on his own. He has to use the standard translation.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean? Pashup Pshat.
Pashup Pshat is that sounds like this guy, you get up in shul, read some psukim, and translate it on his own. The Gemara is saying, what do you mean translate on his own? He's not allowed to translate on his own. That's all. He has to use the standard translation. I don't know if this is, when they banned that Chumash last year, what's it called? The Pshutei Shel Mikra, or Pshutei Shel Rashi Sefer, because they said he's making up his own translation. I wonder if they use this Gemara as part of their Macha. I don't know. But either way. The Gemara says, Elamai Targum Didon means our translation. So he has to be able to know our, like Unkelist. He has to know Unkelist. I'm not sure what the Gemara's Havamina was. Why are we thinking that he's doing his own translation? Wouldn't we have thought that he's doing the translation of the standard translation? Yeah. Okay. But fine. V'hani mili d'amar le'kraina. That's when he said, I know how to read. Aval amar lo kara. But if he says that I am a real, I'm a kara, like I'm a reader, not just that I know how to read. He has to be able to, he needs to be able to do Iraisas, the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim with Diyukim. Right? I hope none of us said that to our wives. Right? Iraisa, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim. I think the girls dating know that good and well, that they're not getting anybody knowing any nach. Yeah, let's say he says on condition that I know how to learn. Piski Omar halachas, it means he has to know halachas. Rabbi Yochanan Omar Torah, means Torah. So Meisei, they want to ask the Kasha, Ezi Mishnah, what does it mean Mishnah? Rameir Omer halachas, Rabbi Yehuda Omer medrash. It says medrash. Nobody here says it means Torah, right? So on to Amud Beis, my Torah, medrash Torah. When it says Torah, it means the midrashim of the Torah in order to be able to darshan out the Torah. Fine. That's only when he said to her, right, that I know how to learn. But if he says I'm a Tana, Adatani Hilchasa, Sifra, Sifri, V'Tosefta. And if he says I'm just learned, that's what it's saying he needs. But if he says I'm a Tana, then he has to know Sifra, Sifri, and Tosefta. Fine. Now the Gemara goes through a whole bunch of conditions. I'm an Ashani Talmud. He says on condition I'm a Talmud. Ain't Oimrim Kishimon ben Azai with Shimon ben Zayma. Not like them. They were Talmidim, right? Meaning they never got. It's interesting. Rashi says that they never had smicha, right? But there was nobody like them in Torah, right? What does that mean? There was nobody like them in Torah, but they didn't get smicha. Right? It almost sounds like those, those modern parents, from the flip house to say, you're in yeshiva 5 years, you don't have smicha? Why don't you have a smicha? Right? That's what this mamish sounds like. Right?
That's why Shiloh has Duggan.
Very good, right? That was his in-laws. His in-laws?
Yeah.
Yeah, they needed right. Yeah. That's how to, Duggan is in reference that he knows from Rabbi Freifeld how to make herring. Right? That's his smicha.
Nebuch also Oliver Shalom the Katzenstein gave Shlomo the idea. He said that.
Oh yeah? That's
yeah.
It, Anyway, so it's a very interesting thing. There were no bigger Talmidim than them, but they never made it. I guess we could call it that. They never made it. Yeah? Okay. Hey, look, so it doesn't have to be when a guy says he's a Talmud, that's not what it's referring to. Right? If he can be asked a question in any of the places that he's learning and he could answer. Even in a Masechta Kala. Right? Which Rashi says is not so deep. Right? That's enough. I mean, as long as he could answer something in Masechta Kala, or whatever Masechta he's learning, so then that he can be considered a Talmud. Fine. He doesn't have to be a Chacham on that level like Rabbi Kiva. He just has to be able to say a shtickle Torah. Maybe that's where shtickle Torah comes from. I don't know. Just say something epis, and then you're okay. Right?
Torah or in any secular thing?
I'm not sure. I was wondering that. Chayra means in Torah. It has to be.
Rashi says Torah
Svara. Sounds like you have to say a svara. Rashi says you have to be able to say a svara. Right? I don't know. Fine. I'm a Nashani Gibor. When he says I'm a strong guy, he doesn't have to be as strong as them. Right? They were generals by Shaul and by David. As long as his friends are scared of him because he's strong, it's also an interesting parameter. Right? His friends are scared of him because he's strong, so then that's enough. Yeah, so that means like at the L'chaim, she has to go over to guys. Are you scared of my husband? Are you scared of my husband? You're not scared, then it's no good. Okay, it's an interesting one. Amanashani Osher, on the condition that he's wealthy, ain't I'm Kiriv Elazar ben Charsam, Kiriv Elazar ben Azariah. Not like them. Meaning it's relative. It's relative. It's relative wealth. Right? Amanashani tzaddik, afilu Russia gom. This is a fascinating one. He says on condition that I'm a tzaddik, even if he's a Russia gomer, he's mekudeshes. She's mekudeshes. Why? Shemahira tshuva b'daita. Maybe he did tshuva. Just shows you. This is okay. It's good. It was still before. We're still in the kvittel days.
He do tshuva,
right?
or he had hear her tshuva. He had thoughts of tshuva.
Even Hirer Tshuva is enough. Yes, 100% of it, right? It's just as long as he had a Hirer Tshuva, he's considered a not a Russia. He's considered a tzaddik, right? Yeah, that's what it's
I don't
saying.
know if you
And
consider him a tzaddik, you're just not considering him a Russian.
No, he says on condition I'm a tzaddik. He says to her, marry me on condition I'm a tzaddik. She Googles his name and she sees this guy's the biggest Russia in the world, right? And then he's but I had a Hirer Tshuva.
So Hirer Tshuva makes it the potential for him to be a tzaddik.
I don't think so. He says on condition that I'm a tzaddik.
So if a potential in Yiddishkeit, we say it's possible that it could be a tzaddik.
He has to have had the Hirer Tshuva. I don't know how you know whether he has the Hirer Tshuva.
Is this song of the Daf every year it's a big tzaddik or something?
Maybe Taka. Yeah.
Wait till the next line.
Almanashi ani Rosh. He says on condition that I'm a Russia. Afilu tzaddik gomer mekadeshes. Even if he's a real tzaddik, he's mekadeshes. Shema Hirer davar avodas kachavim b'taita. Maybe he thought about avodas kachavim in his das, which we had a few blot ago. That if a guy thinks about doing avodas zara, machshava kemaisa. That's what I think is what the Gemara means. It's as if he actually did it. So anybody could be a Russia.
It's not machshava k'maisa. Machshava is the isser.
Well, that's true too. But I'm saying even on top of that, he can. Right. I mean, basically, what comes out is that any way you can zet sign that the guy that it's not a mekach tois, it's not a mekach tois. Right. So, actually, I'll tell you the shayla that happened last week. No, it's not anybody for local, anyways. Guy comes to me. He got married a while ago, a month ago. He says, "I think my marriage is a mekach tois." So why is it mekach tois? He says, because my kala didn't tell me that she had whenever she was doing bedikas before the chasana or whatever it is, she was having a lot of pain, or she knew she was having pain and she was scared of having painful tashmish. So Mamela, she went to a therapist who was helping her out. And I was very mocked that she shouldn't do that. And he didn't say she lied, but she misrepresented. So he says, Oy bazoi, I want to know if I can just walk out without giving a get. I didn't say it's the most normal case. I mean, the guy's asking me a shayla, so it's not like, it's already a strike one. All right, but no, I'm just saying that was his issue.
It was via text.
No, it was not via text.
Sounds like you'd be better off without it.
So I told the guy, I said, if you don't like your wife and you're really upset, so why can't you give her a get? Why do we have to go this route of mekach tois? He says, no, it's better for my new shidduchim if I got a mekach tois as opposed to a get. I said, it's okay, I'll vouch for you. Okay, I'll vouch. You could do the get. We don't have to get involved in this mekach tois business. And I said, besides the fact, you're crazy. But whatever. So saying that's so I told the guy it's not a mekach tois, but I'm thinking taka now. What will you say taka? Let's say he's makbid. Mekach tois?
What is he makbid on?
He's makbid that she I'm not sure exactly.
That she shouldn't go for therapy. That's his problem.
No, but she presented it that she didn't. She presented that she didn't go for therapy, and she did. Right?
What do you want her to do? She wants to do her best for him. He wants to stay stuck.
Correct. She meant what I'm not. We're not going down that road. What the guy was thinking of this, but would it be considered now that we did one block worth of?
I think it's mekach tois
or not.
I think it goes the other way. He's sick. There's something wrong with this guy. I'm serious.
That could be.
I'm serious.
Maskim doctor.
I think you should train her to come ask you, is it a mekach tois for me?
We'll see.
That's what I'm saying. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. There's something.
No, good. But she good. And a chanami, she could maybe say it's a mekach. No, but here it's a mekach tois because he's saying she specifically fooled him. Now there's no nafkamina. The point of the shaila is there's no nafkamina here. He has efes hakapoda that she shouldn't. If anything, she's only improved. Getting back to Amud Aleph with Rav Shimon, she's only improved because of the therapy. Right? He has up as a mishigas. Good, so but good. It's a mishigas, a mishigas. Can we say it's a mekach?
Was it tied to the Kiddushin somehow? This Hakpada?
No. He was just very upset when he found out that she went for therapy.
Post marriage or before marriage?
No, before marriage.
So don't marry her. What does he want?
No,
He didn't
he's
find out
timing
till after
since
he was
she didn't.
married.
He's timing since she didn't tell me before we got married, and now I'm on
Oh, they
Makbid,
did
so
get
I want to
married.
walk
Okay,
out, and
gotcha.
I don't want to give her a ksuba.
He says I would not. He says I would not have married her had I known. That's what he said.
I mean, to
He-
some
he-
extent, I
But he
think
say
90% of
beforehand
guys
that a
can say
mockpit?
that.
Wait a minute. He says it now, or he said it before?
He said he would have said it before. He even told her.
How do you know?
And
How do
she
I
was
know?
told
How do I know?
Because she
How do-
was told. She was told by her mentors to lie to him because otherwise he's going to break it off.
Just did he say before he was married that if you go to therapy, I'm not marrying you? Did he say that? And if yes,
I
do you
don't
have
know.
proof?
No,
I
but the
don't know.
mentors knew it. The mentors knew it, so he must have said
So
it to
it doesn't make
somebody.
it doesn't. The mentors are worthless. It doesn't mean
No,
anything.
But the mentors, obviously, the mentors knew what they were doing, trying to get this girl. To be
Okay,
married.
so
They
good.
knew that
So
he
the
had
mentors-
Hafez.
So the mentors said it. Does he have proof that before she got married? Does he
It
have
doesn't make a
proof?
difference. No, Zev. It doesn't mean. I'm not so sure. You're right. Again, I'm not sure. He has a thing. She presented herself that she's therapy free, and now she's not. That's a mekach tois, regardless of whether he wanted or he didn't want. That's
If
the
a guy-
shaila, meaning
If a guy asks a girl, "Do you ever on medication?" She says no, and then she was 3 years before they got married. Does that mean
yeah,
that
it could vary. It could, yes, that could be. It's a mekach tois. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this where it gets in very sensitive by the shidduchim, where you're not mechuyev to say. You're not mechuyev to say. The person's mechuyev to ask. If they ask, you can't lie. There's a lot of very sensitive things that come up with shidduchim with these things. You're not if you ask and the person says it's not true, and then it is true, then you have a problem. I once had a case with Rav David Cohn a couple of years ago, where the girl made a mistake and she was mizana, or borderline mizana. So she's not a basula, right? So she has to tell him before they get engaged that she's not a basula, right? Now I'm being recorded, so maybe I shouldn't say it, but okay, Sean. I asked Rav David Cohn what she's supposed to do.
Shut it off. Shut it off.
Does she need to clarify that before they write the ksuva?
Yes, that's why, exactly. Yeah. Now they could decide. Then the next stage is they could decide what they're writing in the ksuba. He could be Michael and say, okay, I don't care, I'm going to give 200 anyways. That's usually what they do. Sometimes they still write Be'ula, but the guy reading the ksuba fudges it. I've done that a couple of times, and I messed it up. Nobody pays attention anyways. But I'm just saying, I think I did it once and I messed it up. I don't know. Whatever. But that's a different sugya. But the bottom line is if
Why is the person allowed to say? Why is the person allowed to say he was raped?
I mean, it's a sheker.
Well, I'm asking.
I don't understand. I agree. I don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
If there was no,
That's what I'm saying.
How could you say how could a person say they were raped when they weren't raped?
Right. So that's
you could say a terrible mistake was made. I mean, I just think that
hence the lack of recording on that. Hence the lack of recording.
I just don't understand.
The way I just okay.
Not only that, again,
yeah. I hear what you're saying, Doctor. I personally justify it by essentially assuming that when a single girl has a one-time deal with a guy, she's essentially raped by the guy. The guy sweet-talked her and da-da-da-da-da, and it's pretty close to that. You know, Nashim Daitin Kalas. Now, it doesn't have to be, it could be a statutory. It could be a statutory rape. It doesn't have to be, meaning he convinced her.
Yeah.
That's the way I understand. That's the way I understand the psak. Either way, okay, there's some examples. Fine. Now we get into from the famous Gemaras and Shas. Yeah, Asara Kavim Chochma Yordu Loilam. There were 10 Kav of Chochma that went into the world. Tisha not Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael took 9 of them. And I don't know, is that why Eretz Yisrael is machkim? Avira Eretz Yisrael is machkim? Is that because of that? Avikan, you're not an Eretz Yisrael now, right? You look like you're an Eretz Yisrael, but you're not. Is it machkim just because you have a background like that, or it doesn't work?
Because I'm learning with you.
Ah, there you go. You're Baal Chesed too, on top of it. Okay. So anyways, so Eretz Yisrael took 9 halakim, and the rest of the world took 1. Asara Kavim Yoifi, which you see, like the technology, Eretz Yisrael is at the cutting edge of technology, right? All the technology companies are busy with Eretz Yisrael. I wonder if that has what to do with it. Okay, Asara Kavim Yoifi Yordal Oilam, 10 Kavim of beauty came to rule Tisha Natul Yerushalayim, Ve'echad Kol Oilam Kula. 9 is Yerushalayim, 1 is the rest of the world. Asara Kavim Ashiras Yordal Oilam, Tisha Natul Roimiyim, Kadmainim, the early Romans, Ve'echad Kol Oilam Kula. Yud Kavim Aniyas Yordal Oilam, 10 Kav of poor, Tisha Natul Bavel, Bavel took 9, Ve'echad Kol Oilam Kula. Asara Kavim Gasas Yordal Oilam, there's 10 Kavim of Gaiva. Tisha Natul Elam, Elam took it, and obviously doesn't exist anymore, Elam, and Echad Kol Olam Kula. So Gemara asks, now Vagasas of Bavel Nenachas, and Gaiva didn't go to Bavel, Vaksiv, Ve'esa Einai Ve'era, I'm going to lift up my eyes, and I saw V'hine Shtaim Nashim Yoitzes Ruach B'Kanfeim. 2 women went out, and they had the wind under their wings. V'laheinu Knafayim Kekanvei Chasida, and their wings were like the wings of a Chasida, the article says a stork. How do you say this? That aleph. It's Vatisena, I think. Esa Efa Beina Aretz Ubeina Shemaim, and they lifted up the Efa is a measurement between the land and the sky. V'Omer al Elamalach Hadoiverbi, and they said to the Malach who was speaking to me, I'm sorry, Malichas Esa Efa. Where are they taking this Efa? V'Yomer Elai, they're bringing it Livnes Labayis Ba'aretz Shinar. He's going to build a house in Eretz Shinar. That's Chanifa, how do you call kissing up? And Gaiva that went into Bavel. So you see that Gaiva went to Bavel, not to Elam. So when it says in Lahachanachas, it came to Bavel, and then it moved over there. The economy, the Katani lived nice not biased to build her house, her a house, Lashon Yachid. Not both of them, whatever these malachim were, right? Where only one of them built a house. Mamina, that one of them was in Shinar, right? Then they went to Elam. Okay, whatever that means. But the Gaiva started in Bavel and moved itself over. When I ask, Eini v'amar simin legasas aniyas, what's a simin for Gaiva is poor. Aniyas v'Bavel hu deika, and we said that Bavel has the poor. When it says my aniyas the Torah, it means aniyas and Torah. The siv, when you have Gaiva, you're not going to have good Torah. The siv achos lanu ketana v'shadayim einla. We have a sister, small sister, and she doesn't have any breasts, right? So that's referring to for learning in the Torah, aniyas and Torah. Fine. That's referring to Elam, that they had a zchus to learn, but they didn't have a zchus to teach. Okay. Asar kam gevura yardul Elam, 10 kavim of strength. Tisha natu parsiim, and the rest of the world took 1. Asar kam kinim yardul Elam, lice. Tisha nat lamadai, and then bechulu. Asar kavim kshafim yardul Elam, witchcraft. Tisha natu mitzrayim, and the rest of the world took 1. Asar kavim negoyim yardul Elam, saras. Tesnatu chazirim, pigs got 9 of them, and the rest of the world had the other. Yud kavim znus yardul Oilam, Tisha natu arvia, 9 went to the Arabs. Asara kavim azus yardul Oilam, chutzpah, right? Which Rashi interestingly says mamzerus, right? Tisha natu mishon, 9 were taken by mishon. Right. Asara kam sicha yardul Oilam, this is the famous one. There were 10 kavim of talking. Tisha notlu nashim. The women took 9/10 of it. And then the men took 1. Asara kam shichras yardul Oilam. Like drunk Tisha nitlu kushim. The kushim took 9. Asara kam shina yardul Oilam. Tisha notlu avodim. slaves took 9. The echad natu kol olam kuloi, and the rest of the world took 9. 1. Okay. That's the Gemara. Fine. Okay, we're caught up, Baruch Hashem. Tomorrow night, I'm assuming regular time unless I'm otherwise notified. Yeah. Okay. Akut Mayid, everybody should
I got mine.
enjoy their Mayid.
Guys.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Someone said to me,
Called me out of Yontif and I called you back, but you already shut off your phone.
I don't even know what that was about anymore.
All right. Must have been about water. Yeah.
I'm honestly, I don't even know what that was about.
All right.
I'll have to try to remember that. But someone said to me that an estrogen, there's so much pesticides in it now that it's not really a fruit anymore. You can't eat them. It's not really a fruit.
Yeah,
have you ever heard something like that?
Yes, I've heard that. What was it, Nageya? Making Shechianu on it? No.
Or the fact that it needs to be a pre-Eitz Hadar. It needs to be a pre. And if it's not a pre, maybe it's not a pre because there's so much pesticides in it. It's not edible and it's not a pre anymore.
I'm saying, what's an nafkamina? That it just doesn't fit into a pre?
Yeah.
It's still a pre. It just might not be an edible pre.
I guess.
No? No, there was another nafkamina that somebody asked me about. About, what is it, Nageya? Can't remember now. What was it, Nageya? Yeah, I'm not remembering.
Speaking of fruit, am I allowed to pick jalapenos off my plants on Chalamai for Yom Tov?
Only if you have no choice.
So I can go to the store and buy them. But they happen to be on the plant.
Is it better?
What?
Is it better?
It's better. No, it's a shtick.
Alden writes in the Kav Shalai talking about Tisha Kavim.
I wasn't sure if it was like going apple picking and all of that.
That Tati was better than apple picking.
I know. He said it totally us.
I need to take measure.
Yeah, but there are many parts. If you're going to use it on Yom Tov, then you could. If you're not interested in driving to the grocery store to get it, then it's also okay.
I hear you. No, I just thought about it on Yom Tov. Like, wait a minute, that's might be a malacha.
It is a malacha, but it's mutter l'tzarech Yom Tov.
Right, I hear.
Picking vegetables is usually a Maisa Uman.
I wasn't sure if fruit or vegetables makes a difference.
No, it doesn't. Is picking anything a Maisa Uman?
Guess who's clicking in? The Mekach Tois guy.
You better shut the recording, Parrot.